One of the best parts about being in a van is the ability to pick up your whole house and just go somewhere else. Maybe you just want to go and experience what's out in the world, or maybe you just want to go somewhere related to work or what you do. In my case, I write, and there is a famous writers' conference in my general genre and area of writing up in the Pocono Mountain area in Pennsylvania. So the first week, outside of testing it last week in camp, the first week where I actually have to provide my own food and have to rely on myself a lot more, we're testing the van while I still have an apartment. Of course, that means this footage has been recorded a while ago from when we're actually releasing this video. But it was good footage I wanted to release a video on about driving down in the middle of the Poconos, stopping at a little RV park that only charged $75 for the whole week. I did not have any hookups. I could have paid a little extra and get some hookups, but I did have a bathhouse and all that kind of stuff. So it was a very nice place to go. So it's kind of set out in the mountains, wooded area in Pennsylvania. And the bonus, we had excellent internet where we were on all of my different devices. So I wanted to just go ahead and record this footage, release this out so you can see what we were doing the first week that I was testing out the van. Well, this is kind of the first week I'm really testing out the van, getting away from home for an extended period of time where I actually have to do a lot of things. Of course, last week I was out at a camp, but, you know, all the food's provided and a lot of other things. This week I'm actually over at the Montrose Bible Conference Center for a Christian writers group, and there's, I won't talk a lot more about that here. I realize the audience on this channel's probably, you know, may or may not be geared towards the Christian stuff. I'll talk more about this on my other channel dedicated to that. But I'm on a very nice trail in the woods here. We're kind of up, and they have a variety of RV campsites and things like that throughout, and it's $75 for the week just to park up here with no services. And this trail is kind of off the campground there, so I'm actually hooked up with, you know, I'm not hooked up with anything, just boondocking basically in an RV court. There's probably about, I think I have about like less than 10 neighbors up here, which is nice. We have a bathhouse with laundry facilities and things like that. We have a fork in the road. Let's go this one here. And then of course there's a whole conference. That's what brought me here, since I write books. This was one of the biggest and longest running writing conferences for people in the Christian faith, mostly because the campus here is set up by the famous preacher R.A. Torrey in 1908, which is when he established this particular facility. And we're actually at there's a conference center right next to his old house. Then he bought this property as well, which has just a whole lot of nice, more outdoorsy type things. I think there's a lake around here somewhere. I may or may not have time to explore that. Right now I just came up. I had to get some client work done. Good news is I'm kind of up here in sort of the middle of nowhere, PA, but I still have pretty much full phone service on both my carriers. And so I'm able to just turn on my IoT devices, stream what I need to stream. I'll be running a live stream tonight on my tech channel just to test it out. It's the first time I'm going to try streaming on the cellular internet connection. We'll see what that does, how that works. And we'll be streaming a live news show that I didn't get done last week. Usually that's on Friday. And you know, being at the camp all last week, didn't have any of that. So this is, though, the first week that we're actually out here. We're boondocking with the van, and I have to do meal prep and things like that. I bought a lunch package because I'm getting there at the conference around 8, and then just staying there throughout the lunch day, and then coming back, you know, in the afternoon after some other services are done. And so overall, it's going to be a really good test. This is day one. Power is perfectly fine. It's been mostly overcast all day. I'm still drawing, several amps. The batteries aren't even dented from all the work I was doing last night. So that so far works. So again, 500 watts of solar, MPPT charge controller, 200 amps of lithium batteries, and not having any problems. I ran for breakfast this morning. I cooked on the induction top and on the gas top. I think I did coffee on the induction top while I was cooking bacon and eggs on the propane top. Made popcorn last night. I did that with propane. And so overall it looks to be pretty good. I'll go ahead and have just a few clips of this trail up here. There's some just some nice little things on this little trail, so I'll point that out, and then I'm going to be heading back to the van here before too long, and then I got to get some work done. Well, this is one of the little kind of ruins, as it is, down at the campground. It's off a little dirt road that's not really blocked. There's no trespassing. I don't really want to attempt to open any doors or anything. None of them are open, so I'm not going to go in and poke around, but there's just... This is kind of like the campground is probably, in its glory day, was amazing. And now it just seems very run down. And it's one of the neat little finds that you can see. I mean, it's not all necessarily old stuff. These are something electronic. Those look like kind of food bins. Use those for keeping food warm. Some copper pipes, bunch of wires, pile of bricks. These rooms, it's just a old ruined lodge. There's a little sign over there. It's behind something. There's something lodge. There's so many little things like this. There's some stuff that it almost looks like it might still be used, but some of it not quite so much. What you see way ahead of you there is there's an old boathouse. There's a few old boats there. In theory, there's a sign for a lake trail that goes down here, and I got about as far down into the woods as I'm willing to go right now. No lake to be seen. You can kind of see something through the woods that looks like it could be a lake. I guess they do still have a boat launch for the conference center that's down off the main road, but it looks like it used to be accessible from the campground, but not anymore. Well, we have a thunderstorm going right now, and it's actually is one of those times where the thunderstorm is very nice because it was a little loud. The rain was very loud to the point where I couldn't really hear anything on the computer. It's a good time to stop and realize, you know what, I'm a little behind on my reading, so I just cozied up in my little reading spot back here and just decided to get some reading done. As far as sleeping in the van with the rain, you need to get used to it a little bit. It should be raining on and off all night. The biggest downside is if you have the way to open a window in a van at night, it's definitely a lot better waking up without being stuffy in the morning, which would happen if you don't have the fan. Now, I think if I run the fan, I should be fine either way, but the static air building up, that does get a little stuffy. Since it is going to be raining all night, I'm actually not going to open up the vent at all. But overall, it's not going to be too bad. The rain doesn't really bother me. If you're a super light sleeper, it might bother you, but I have a very, very static schedule. You can see the coloration back there is changing. So this is kind of my reading area. I'll show you guys my reading area. It's basically just the bedroom here. This right here is a switch. That's why it's not, that light's not turned all the way on. It's a little bit too messed up for the lighting there, but that's actually just a nice LED on a switch. Most of the LEDs on the switches like this, these are just circuit board built switches, very simple, on a simple dial. And then the LED panel, these are just raw LEDs, and I'm just attaching them to just directly into the battery, of course on a DC fuse. But this way, this is the bed. The head of the bed, I have one nice reading light. Since I have carpet on the wall behind me, it's very, very comfortable. Just set a couple pillows down, lean back against the carpet in the wall, and it's enough height here. I'm sitting all the way up, and I still have a good 6 inches clearance on the ceiling. The cove lighting is also very nice here. That is, I have a cove lighting on either side. They're attached to this USB port right here, which is actually powered on by a switch. Obviously, the cove lightings do have their own on-off switch and color changing, so I can change the colors and things like that, but I usually just keep them on this rotating coloration. Looks pretty nice. Of course, I'm in the back of the van. I have nice carpet panels up here, and there's actually 2 inches of XPS insulation behind this. And these are actually sewn by a friend of mine. There's magnetic inside. They just pop off. And there's the windows. Since it's kind of raining and kind of getting a little cold outside, I'll probably pull the other one off at night. I won't pull this one off. This one always is up if I'm in here sleeping, because, you know, you don't want people looking at your head. But if somebody wants to come in and, you know, take care of their foot fetish or something, what do I care, you know? Actually, the back of the van is actually kind of, it's the back of a campground, and so there's really nothing going to be out there anyway. I really could take both of them off. And since it's rainy out, that will actually keep the temperature a little cooler in here. But yeah, I'll be dealing with the thunderstorm all night tonight. The downside is, right now, with how good of a campground this is and how safe of a campground this is, for reference of safety, we're at a Christian Writers Conference and there's like 6 people in the campground. And town is a little bit that way, and it's like the nicest town I think I've ever been in. Usually I would just keep the screen door open all night, keep the fan running, and it'll just be nice and cool in here. But, you know, there's that. We're just going to let the storm pass by. It's getting a little light again, so I'll just be able to stop, get back to the work that I was doing. I got some reading done, and I have some planning and writing and planning and stuff to do now, and it's I think it's just about midnight now. I have a little bit more, about another hour I'm gonna be up here working. But there's my office down there. See the computer, one of the computers is on. But yeah, it's about time to get back to work. I got my reading done, and we're gonna jump on over to the office, get a little bit more done, and that'll wrap up today. Right, so I just threw the bacon on right there, and it's sizzling up nicely. So the plate's already warm, of course, because I just boiled water, so it didn't take really, as soon as I put it on, it started boiling. There's my coffee going up. This is just water on my sink, and I threw a little bit of milk in my cup there. Sometimes I like my coffee with cream, sometimes I don't. But I have extra milk, so now we need to grab this guy over here. So the pans, I have 3 of these, and I have 1 pot that is also good for the induction oven. All my pots and pans are good for the induction oven or for the gas setting. So of course my gas setup I have here, and I have this guy here, and a few more of those laying around. And this is my little jar of vinegar that I'm going to use to clean everything up. So I'm cleaning everything up with just vinegar spray, paper towels, and then I'll wipe them down with Lysol antibacterial wipes as well. So I'm going to need multiple hands here to finish cooking my bacon and eggs. But there's pretty much the morning routine. Well, today's the last day that I'm here, and I'm actually going to go down and just have breakfast with all the people that I met today. But I'm going to start with making some coffee while I put everything together. So as a wrap up, step number 1, let's make the bed. And then I'm going to, last night I did start putting everything down. I just need to make the bed, put a few things away, and then take down the window covers from the back and cleared up the front, ready to go. First round of coffee is almost done. I need to do 2 of these. I'm filling up this thermos, and then the cup I'm just going to fill up down there at lunch. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. Well, it took about 20 minutes or so. I've front all ready to go. Took down the blinders, set up the GPS and the camera, took everything else down, made up a whole bunch of coffee, and just checking everything over again. Guess these 2 pens go in my pocket, and we're ready to hit the road. I'm going to actually go say goodbye to the neighbors who are outside, and then we'll head out. Well, I had a wonderful time at the conference. The town was probably one of the nicest towns I've ever been into. I did a nice bike ride around there, which I snapped a few photos of some of the things that you'll find around town. The campground was excellent. The facilities at the conference center were really good, and it's always a bittersweet time though when you are hanging out with people, you're meeting everybody, and you're there and see everybody for the whole week, and then you have to move on out. And with that, it's always bittersweet to leave a situation, but it also is time to get back home. This was actually right about the time I think I came back from here, and I had pretty much exactly 1 week to clean everything else out of the house and completely move out. And the following week, I will start my journey living full-time in this van. It was excellent. Of course, there's some things I didn't show. I actually got stuck down at the conference center. We had to pull the van out with a truck. I did not have the opportunity to take some photos during that, but that was an enjoyable thing. Need to get some traction stuff there. It was, of course, a rainy day. That was due to the thunderstorm that we had, softening the ground a little bit too much. Overall, though, the van worked great. There's obviously some things you've seen in the video that I don't do anymore. One of those being don't use a French press for your coffee in a van. I'll have a separate video for why in a little bit. We also didn't have the new monitor covers that I have, which are really nice now. I was just using bungee cords and egg crate at that time, but those are all resolved. And everything else, though, was working out great. In full reality, the van worked excellent. First full week of testing, no serious problems. And that's always a good feeling to know that you built your house with your bare hands in the back of what was formerly just an empty metal cargo van to produce something that is just so amazing to spend your days in. So with that, thanks for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts and your comments down below. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already, and turn on that notification button. We will see you guys a little bit further down the road here on Tux Traveler.